day. Welcome to another episode of Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. God is great. All the time. All the time, God is great. Jesus Christ died and he rose again. Let's get into it. Lord have mercy. Steve Nash. Steve Nash has bent the knee and kissed the ring of LeBron James in clutch sports. And you wonder why. People like you, the audience, the subscribers, people wonder why fans gravitate so much to NBA old school basketball. But to hear this come out of Steve Nash's mouth, man. So I was watching one of my favorite shows, Fearless, with Jason Whitlock, okay? One of my favorite shows. And he had Jay Skapanak on, okay? And Jason Whitlock played this clip of LeBron James and Steve Nash in a conversation about the legends of the game or whatnot. Steve Nash. See it for yourself.
Sometimes, some people aren't as happy with the way the game is. Like, we need to help teach fans, like, how great the game is now. Yeah. Like, it's not going back to that. Right. It's a lot of nostalgia. There's other factors. But, like, the game is great, and we need to teach people how to appreciate it.
Yeah, we just need to, I think, have an appreciation. And I think if our fans will really go back and watch some of those games, they will realize then maybe that's not something we would want to see on a night-to-night basis. Because
Steve, you played it in that era, okay? You played it in that era. And for you to be agreeing with LeBron James about that, okay? It just is amazing to hear the disrespect that today's NBA players have for the legends of the game, okay? It is just astounding, okay? Calling them plumbers, saying they weren't skilled or whatnot. And today's NBA players sitting up here talking about, the legends of the game. They need to stop criticizing us so harshly. To hear Steve Nash agreeing with LeBron James about that. Well, then how come so many fans are not watching today's NBA basketball? Tell me why fans are watching classic NBA games on YouTube like me. Okay? How come NBA fans gravitate towards Michael Jordan? And I'm talking about, I think when that Last Dance documentary aired, this is just my opinion. I think when that Last Dance documentary aired, I think it pulled some of the new school fans of the NBA. I think it pulled some of them over to Jordan's side. Okay? I really believe that. I think that Last Dance documentary swung some old school NBA fans towards, not old school NBA fans, but younger NBA fans swung more towards Jordan's side, okay? But for Steve Nash to be agreeing with LeBron James at saying that that's something that our fans would not want to see, okay? So what was the one thing that Jerry Sloan emphasized when he coached Utah his whole coaching career? Compete. Okay? Compete. And if you did not compete, you were sitting on the bench next to Adam Keefe. I didn't mean he to take a dig at Adam Keefe, but yeah. Jerry Sloan's whole thing was compete. And I think we, as old school NBA fans, like to see good competition. We like to see resistance, okay? We like to see great players, great teams face resistance, but yet still overcome that. That's why we loved when that's why we loved the Bulls and Pistons, because there was great resistance. Okay. That's why we love Lakers Celtics. There was great resistance. Okay. That's why we loved everything about the NBA. In the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, early part of the new millennium. Okay. So you mean to tell me fans would not want to see resistance? Fans wouldn't want to see real defense. Fans would not want to see great competition. Okay. Instead of this NBA and one basketball we see today. Okay. That's basically what it is today. And one. The NBA has turned into the and one league. It should be renamed the National Basketball And1 League. That's what the A stands for now. In the National Basketball Association. The National Basketball And1 League. That's what it is called. Right there. All this dribbling, all this pounding the ball, shooting 900 threes a game. Okay. Okay. So, you really think that fans want to see no resistance, no defense, shooting, jacking up threes? You think fans really want to see that? Okay. And Jay Kaepernick said it. That's why the NBA audience is dwindling. Okay. That's why the NBA audience is dwindling. Calling old school players unskilled. So Jerry West became the logo of the NBA by being unskilled. Okay. Michael Jordan became the greatest player of all time by being unskilled. Okay. Larry Bird won 3 championships and is in the Hall of Fame by being unskilled. Okay. Magic Johnson, one of the greatest point guards of all time, won 5 championships and dished out all of those assists by being unskilled. I just kind of wish there was a time. I really do wish there was a time machine where we could go back and put some of these what's the word I'm looking for? Some of these spoiled NBA athletes and put them back in the early 90s, the 80s, and the 70s, and the 60s. I wish we could go back. And we had a time machine where we could travel back and put them in the head era. Then they would find out. Then they would know for sure. Okay? And I think NBA legends are spot on when they say players of today couldn't play in their era. I think the NBA legends are spot on. Why? Because NBA players during that day, back in the day, got coached. and they got coached hard. Jerry Sloan coached hard. Phil Jackson coached hard. George Karl coached hard. Pat Riley coached hard. Casey Jones. Bill Fitch. Okay. Dick Mahata. Al Attles. Red Araback. Okay. They coached hard. Okay. They coached hard, and the players wanted to be coached. They wanted to be coached hard. Michael Jordan wanted to be coached. Karl Malone and John Stockton wanted to be coached. Isaiah Thomas wanted to be coached. Magic wanted to be coached. Kobe wanted to be coached, despite the challenges of coaching Kobe. Right? I know, right? It was towards the end of his career where Kobe became really coachable. Okay. He was coachable in the early part of his career here too. There were just challenges that went along with that. Okay. Anyway, but yeah. I think NBA legends are spot on when they say players today couldn't play in their era because you would have to practice, and you would have to practice hard. You would have to play every night. You would have to play through injury. You would have to be coached, okay, and you would have to give actual effort, okay. And if you took a 30-foot shot, the coaches would either curse you out in the timeout or just take you out and bench you. Okay. So NBA players were spot on when they say today's players couldn't play in their era. And I think NBA legends are tired of today's players really SHITTING on their generation. Okay. And yeah, but for Steve Nash to be agreeing with that, Steve Nash, you played in that era, okay? You played in the era where you still had guys like Patrick Ewing, Buck Williams, big guys like Luke Longley, Terry Cummings, okay? Karl Malone. The league was still pretty physical. Physicality just didn't go away. Physicality in the NBA just didn't go away overnight. It was a long process, which I think really ramped up after the 2010 NBA Finals. Okay, between the Lakers and Celtics. Okay. That series between the Lakers and Celtics, I think that was the last time you could play actual defense. Okay. Yeah. But for Steve Nash to be agreeing with that, I just shook my head and said, "Oh, he's bent the knee. He's kissed Clutch Sports and LeBron's ring." And it's disappointing because he came into the league where Jordan was still playing. Malone and Stockton were there. Guys like Pippen, Alonzo Mourning, Shaq. Just trying to name a couple of guys. Dikembe Mutombo, rest in peace. You still had rim protectors, okay, and you still had players who would knock you on your butt if you came into the lane. And Steve Nash played in that era. So for him to say, hey, that, I just wonder what NBA heads are thinking about that. Okay. So, Steve Nash, I just wonder how much money Club Hutch Sports paid him to agree with that. All right. That's it. And that's all for Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. I'm out of here. Peace.